Guten Tag, ich heiße Kelly, willkommen. Yeah, welcome to my channel if you are new here, and also if you're not new here, welcome. I am continuing days 13, 14 and 15 of the Sunshine State Witches Neopagan November challenge for this month. And yeah, I'm just gonna jump straight in. I'm just filming pretty much straight after the previous video if you've been watching along. And so the first prompt for day 13, or the prompt for day 13 rather, is heritage. This is an interesting one because there's a couple of different prompts that can sort of, there's a heritage in this month's challenge. There's also one for cultural influences, there's one for family, and they can kind of sort of blend into one another a little bit. So when I sort of read through the prompt list, I was like, okay, so heritage. And for me, I made a video maybe about 3 years ago called My Hereditary Woo, because for years I thought I was the only sort of witchy type in my family, but it turns out that there was a great aunt back in Ireland who was psychic, apparently, according to my dear Auntie Caroline, and even though she was Catholic, as all of the Irish side of my family are, she was known to sort of have the sight, and people went to her apparently for, I don't know, psychic readings. I really want to find out more because I need to question my aunt about this a bit further, because it's very yeah, it's really, really cool, but I just never get around to it. And then the other thing was, yeah, the thing that prompted the video that I made was that I had gone to visit my dad and my stepmom, and I think I was talking about tarot, as I do. My family are very like, yeah, whatever. And my dad said something about, your granddad's crystal ball, something, and I was like, what? And he went and he got this, it's not very big, this little crystal ball that belonged to my paternal grandfather, who I never met because he died before I was born. And I was like, what? How long have you had this? And he's like, since he died, that was the one thing that he wanted, was his dad's crystal ball. And this is interesting for a couple of reasons. The first one being, it's a guy, right? It's a man. It's a man in the 40s, 50s and 60s reading a crystal ball, which again in itself is quite extraordinary, because I don't think the Witchcraft Act was repealed until the 1950s in England at least. And I know that he was in London at the time. And then also he's from a really sort of working class Cockney background, and in that environment, so you got this old Cockney geezer with a fucking crystal ball, and that just like really tickles me. And then my dad went on to say something about, oh, such and such, you can, if I ever find it, I don't know where it is, it's probably in the attic, but I've not been able to find it because he had recently moved, you can have my tarot deck. And I'm like, whoa, what? Hang on, you had a tarot deck? He's like, yeah, it's somewhere knocking about. And I was just like, so it turns out that I have hereditary woo on both sides of my family. So this great aunt or great aunt who was a psychic back in Ireland, I'm thinking it's Donegal, because that's where my nan's from. She's from Donegal. If you watch Derry Girls, you know that they knock Donegal a little bit, but it's nice to see it represented. And yes, some of folks do really speak like that old lady that they cannot understand. Ask me how I know. Yeah, and then on my dad's side, with my granddad, my paternal grandfather, and my dad, he still hasn't found that tarot deck, but he's promised me that if he finds it, he will just give it to me. And he said that when he pops his clogs, he will be giving my granddad's crystal ball to me, because he feels like it should go to me. My sister has zero interest in this kind of thing other than me giving her tarot readings, which she enjoys very much. So that's my hereditary. And actually I wanted to show a little something from each side of the family that is hereditary. I have my dad's Bible. My dad's still with us, by the way. Holy crap, the sun, see what I mean with the sun and then it goes behind the clouds, and then I need to put this back on. It's like, just wait 30 seconds and who knows what the weather's going to be like. Who knows what, cannot judge the lighting for these videos. But this has got my dad's name in it. I'm not going to, but it's got a little book plate in the front with his name that he's written as a kid in pencil. And he gave this to me, I don't know, years and years ago, but I think it was given to him by my great auntie Lil, who I loved, and when she passed away, my dad gave me a couple of items that were hers, and to my sister and what have you, that she wanted us to have, including I got her personalized mirror compact, which is really, I used to collect mirror compacts, vintage mirror compacts, so my dad knew that I would want that, and she knew that I would want that. And then, but yeah, it's still got like dog ears that have been there goodness knows how long. It's really bashed up, the gilding's really worn on it, but my dad's side of the family are a mixture of Irish and Scottish and English, but I know that only going further back, but the recent couple of generations, or one generation, is English. So I think this is a King James Bible. It's not, you know, the old Catholic Latin. But yeah, so that's my dad's, and he gave that to me just because he knows I like books and I'm interested in religion and theology and philosophy. And he felt that, you know, he doesn't use it, and he knew that it would just be a nice keepsake for me to have. And actually, I've been getting interested in folk Catholicism. Obviously, I think this is a Protestant, this is a Church C of E Bible, but I've been listening on and off to the Red Text podcast, which is all about sort of, it's called the Red Text because of the red text that's highlighted in a lot of Bibles. And it's referencing that, but yeah, that's got loads of information about folk witchcraft, and it's just really interesting. But like I said, my mum's side of the family are Catholics, and that brings me on to this, which is my rosary from when I was a child. This was gifted to me by my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, when I was very wee. I don't even know how old I was. It's really plain and simple. It's black with silver, like metal. See if I can get it to focus. With Jesus on the cross and plain black beads. And I literally cannot remember a time I did not have this. And I used to sleep with it underneath my pillow until I think maybe till I was about 13 or 14, and then it went into my keepsake box. But because I'm starting to feel more connected again to my roots and my upbringing, I thought I would just get these two things out, which were in my keepsake box, and they are just on my little tarot trolley, altar trolley over there in the corner, which I might show later on in the month. So yeah, those are little two bits of hereditary heritage there, which are not witchy, or can be witchy depending on how you use them, because obviously there's a rich history of the Bible being used in things like root work and conjure and hoodoo, and also British folk magic, because it got people just use what they have, and it gets incorporated, right? And the same with the rosary. I know that the Italian folk magic has a lot of sort of obvious ties to Catholicism as well, and I think brujeria as well, maybe, I don't know, maybe curantismo, I don't know enough about it, which I should fix. So yeah, that's heritage. The next prompt is oils, and for that I've just got a little, just to show you some of the oils that I have. I'm really into herbalism, and a little by extension essential oils. I try not to use too many essential oils. They are expensive, it's hard to get good quality ones, and there can be an environmental impact element that needs to be taken into consideration with certain essential oils, much like certain incenses and crystals as well. We need to consume ethically with regards to the environment, but also culturally, right? So we're not appropriating or endangering anything. But here I have tea tree, which they're oils that are just really useful for certain things. Like I've got, you know, tea tree and lavender and things that are just really useful for helping to sleep, or if you've got a spot or what have you. I've got rosemary, I've got peppermint, I've got a couple of roller blends, I have lemon, geranium, ylang ylang, clove oil, which was a recent purchase because I had a tooth issue and this helped numb the pain. Clove oil, so really you can use this neat, you just have to be really careful and don't swallow it. Oh my god, it tastes minging, you don't really want to swallow it. I know some people will say that there are certain essential oils that are consumer safe, food safe, but I try not to ingest them, honestly. So yeah, it's just I use them. Some I will use neat, like tea tree oil or clove, but they can also be blended in a carrier oil. Things like fractionated coconut oil, jojoba oil, rapeseed oil, apricot kernel oil, olive oil, whatever takes your fancy, or avocado oil. I know avocado oil goes off a bit more quickly, so don't use that as much, but yeah, you can use it to make all sorts of things: bath oils, massage oils, all sorts of things. Oils to anoint your candles, oils to add for your spell work, roller oils. I have a roller oil that I use, which is probably a bit out of date now and probably needs replacing, for meditation and getting into rituals headspace as well. Oils, trying to keep that one quick because this video is going to get really long like the other one. And then yeah, the third and final prompt for this video is oh no, tell a lie, I skipped. 13 was heritage, 15 was oils, 14 was fire, so I've missed 14, so we're just going to backtrack. Prompt 14, fire. So we had water, and I spoke about how I use water in my daily offerings, and I also use fire because I like candles and I like my little incense burner that I showed before. But what I didn't show was my cauldron, quote unquote cauldron, which I have had since I was about 15 or 16. So I've had this for over 25 years, and and it was already secondhand because I bought it at the secondhand market in Camden Town by the lock market, the canal, and I think it was really pricey for me. I think it cost me about £15, so that was a lot of money for me, but it's been my one and only. It's been my true. It's not huge, and I used to hate that I didn't have a cast iron black one because it's more proper, but I could never afford and find one. So, and I couldn't do online shopping because my mum wouldn't allow, you know, it just wasn't a thing. So this is what I got, and yeah, it's got 3 feet, it's got little handles on the side, it's got a tiny bit of verdigris around the bottom, and yeah, I have used this to set fire to sigils and petitions and various other bits and bobs. I've put candles in the bottom of it, all sorts. It's been with me. So fire, I really like using fire to burn stuff. Make sure you are burning non-toxic, safe, flammable items, and make sure that you are standing it on a heat-proof surface, a steady, stable, heat-proof surface. I know it might seem like overkill to mention it, but I always think it bears repeating when it comes to fire safety, right? I'm sure we've all, as witches, had at least one hairy moment involving a candle or incense or wax or something, right? I know I certainly have over the years. But yeah, this is a really great way to burn stuff. Love burning stuff. It's just very satisfying, and you can use fire in 2 ways, and I've used it both ways. So one of the ways that I use fire is to burn something once a working is complete, and it's like ending the working and getting rid of, you're destroying something because the working is over. The other way that I have used fire and do use fire is to start a working, to release it off out into the universe. And a way that the thing that I always think of when I think of this is I think it was, is it the Santa Claus? Maybe the Santa Claus where someone throws a letter to Santa onto the fire because they're like, there's no such thing as Santa, and the letter burns and goes up the chimney, and that magic releases it, and it actually makes its way to Santa because burning it, the magic, it made its way to the North Pole anyway. I think it was the Santa Claus, but if someone knows, or is it Elf? I don't know. If you know, let me know in the comments. But yeah, the other way is that I have burnt, you know, sigils, petitions, prayers, enchantments, charms, and released them in order to get the spell going. So that's another way. But yeah, love a bit of fire. And yeah, that's the 3 prompts. Let me just double check. I covered heritage, fire, oils. Oh, that was a bit quicker today. 15 minutes, not too bad. So yeah, I'm just going to go, and I think I'm going to film one more because 3 is the magic number, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to me blether on about pagan-y, witchy, spelly, divination-y stuff. But I hope you're having a good day. Look after yourself. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.